Welcome to Board Game Animal. My name is Justin. I wanted to take a quick minute to discuss a little game that had incredibly strange timing for me. Bested Another Time snuck onto the scene at the very end of 2025, from Taylor Reiner with art by Cy Beppu. This game just called to me for obvious reasons. I am a big fan of Taylor's games. I love collecting games with Cy's artwork. And my son, who plays Kid Knizia on the channel, well, he adores bats. They're his special interest. We've mentioned this before on the channel. So, obviously, he was interested from day one just seeing the game. In fact, he was especially tickled that Cy's incredible illustrations reminded him of one of his many bat plushies, so this game was easily a must-play. Now, like I said, it was a late game of 2025, but I didn't get my first play of it in until January 1st, 2026. And wow, I already had a crazy difficult time settling on my favorite games of 2025, and boy, if I had played this game even a week sooner, my decision would have been even more challenging to make. I can't even begin to express the agony I would have had trying to adjust things, and I can only imagine that agony when I finally do my small card games list. Why? Because even after a handful of plays of Bested Another Time, or BAT, this may have ended up right at the very top of the year. Real talk, in a time where I've been on a focus for small card games, especially trick-taking, card shedding, ladder climbing games, I'm starting to really settle in on essentially tiers of them. I enjoy a lot of games in that scene. So I have to categorize them even in my head on more than just a rating score and more than just a number, because there are so many of them at this point. It's tricky. Tricky? Really? Yeah. When you enjoy so many. But that being said, I go into every game with an open mind. If I even hear of one little thing that may be intriguing, you never know, it could be a game changer. Sometimes they really hit, sometimes they don't, and I don't know what I was particularly expecting from BAT, even if it was just a nice time. But what I wasn't expecting was to be blown away by it. What makes this game special? To be honest, quite a lot. And actually, you will be hearing a lot more about this game in quite some detail on our upcoming podcast, coincidentally, BAT's Board Game Animal Talk Show, where we got to sit down with our friend Taylor Reiner himself and discuss the game in depth. So please stay tuned for that. That will be one of our first episodes, and I can't wait to share it. So because that is to come, I won't go too crazy into detail here, but I still wanted to talk about this game because it's got me incredibly excited. Really just want to discuss the two big points. First is the versatility in the player count. In the rulebook, Taylor is not shy about stating that the game feels objectively different at different player counts. I think we're all used to games forcing player counts onto a game where they don't really need to be. And when I saw that this goes from 1 to 6, I was worried, is that the case here? Because for a ladder climbing card shedding game, that seems like a massive range to have. In fact, the game does feel very different at all the player counts while still maintaining some of the spirit of the core game. Solo is very much a puzzle. The two-player game is a very intimate head-to-head game that moves quick and is really satisfying. 3 to 4 plays very traditional, and 5 to 6 feels like a much grander thing with more abilities and more going on, while at all the counts, again, maintaining the spirit of what makes Bested Another Time really special. And that's what I call the breaking of rules. With ladder climbing card shedding games, there are a lot of things that you tend to come to expect, and I think in here, BAT comes and subverts a lot of those expectations, to a point where it almost feels like this can't be legal what I'm doing in the game, but it is. The fact that usually there is a cap on the kind of melds you can play with cards, here there isn't. Passing is normally a bad thing. It's normally, I can't do anything else, well, I guess I'll pass. But in here, in Bested Another Time, you are rewarded for passing and have a choice of different abilities to take. And finally, the biggest thing is, to me, one of the most dissatisfying things in card shedding is when you have a hand of cards and you say, oh, when it comes back around to me, I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's all set up, only for it to not come back around to you, and you hope you have that opportunity again. But in Bested Another Time, you can play over yourself, meaning when everyone else passes, you can continue to play melds of the same combination until you can't anymore. And it is one of the most satisfying things in a small card game that I've experienced ever. Sometimes you have that perfect setup, it comes back around to you, everyone passes, and you can close out that portion of play with just killer huge moves. And it's also wildly entertaining to play the game and momentarily forget that other players can do that too, and you may pass without thinking, oh, someone else shed out their entire hand because they could continually play over the last meld they put out. All of that fun energy of the game, again, being delivered to you in a package that works solo, works great as a 2-player head-to-head, or with a variety of larger player accounts with really fun and juicy interaction. It is just a game that sings in all directions. At the end of the day, the game is just straight up fun on all levels. My son came for the bats, but stayed for a fantastic game. He's repeatedly wanted to play it, and Elderberry often joins us at the table. It's already my most played game of 2026, a title, for now, I don't see being passed along to any other game. So yeah, for me, Best Another Time is a 10 out of 10. I am not going to be shy about that. After talking about a ton of small card games, trick-taking, card shedding, or otherwise, no small statement to say that Best in Another Time is really feeling like my favorite in the genre. Now, here's the part that I hate to say. It's not super available at the moment. I know there are places you can get it. And if you can get a copy, get it. It is so good. But don't lose hope. Best Another Time will see new life as it will be readily available at some point soon from Gamehead, giving it a full release shortly down the road. It's a new updated version that Taylor and Paul Solomon have developed with new art and components. This version is incredibly special, and I can't recommend it more. I'm so excited to see what's in store for this one, and can't wait for more folks to be able to give it a try soon. If you have any questions, or have had the chance to play this one and want to talk about it, please leave all your comments down below. I would love to discuss this game with you. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing.
And don't forget to play board games like an animal, and also like a bat.